In the realm of athletics, few figures were as inspiring as Oscar Pistorius, known globally as the Blade Runner. Born into a world where the odds were stacked against him, Pistorius was a fighter from the start. As a double amputee from infancy, he faced challenges that would have crushed many. But Pistorius was not one to be easily deterred. From a young age, he demonstrated an indomitable spirit and an appetite for competition. His physical condition was not a setback, but a stepping stone that propelled him to defy the impossible. His introduction to athletics was nothing short of transformative. It was here, on the track, that Pistorius would rewrite the rules and redefine the boundaries of human potential. With every stride, Pistorius chipped away at the barriers that stood between him and his dreams. His blades, which replaced the legs he was born without, became his wings, earning him the moniker, the Blade Runner. As a Paralympic athlete, he dominated the field, his name synonymous with victory. And then, in a historic move, Pistorius crossed over to compete in the Olympic Games, a feat no other double amputee had ever accomplished. His rise was meteoric, his fame global. Pistorius was not just a sprinter, he was a symbol of triumph over adversity, a beacon of hope for millions around the world. His story was a testament to human resilience, to the power of the human spirit to overcome. He was the Blade Runner, an inspiration, a hero. Pistorius had become a beacon of determination and resilience, a true sporting icon. But the world was about to witness a shocking turn of events. In the early hours of Valentine's Day 2013, the world was stunned by news from South Africa. A day typically filled with love and joy was marred by a tragedy that captured headlines around the globe. Oscar Pistorius, the renowned Blade Runner, had shot his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. The details were shocking, to say the least. In the wee hours of February 14, 2013, Steenkamp was fatally shot multiple times in Pistorius's home. The South African model and law school graduate, who was just on the cusp of her career, had her life cut tragically short. Pistorius claimed he mistook his girlfriend for an intruder. He described a harrowing scenario in which he feared for his life, hearing noises from the bathroom and firing his weapon in self-defense. But the prosecution saw a different story, one of jealousy and rage, leading to premeditated murder. The world was left grappling with the reality that a man they'd cheered on in the Olympics, a symbol of triumph over adversity, was now facing murder charges. Fans and critics alike struggled to reconcile the image of the inspiring athlete with the man who stood accused of such a horrific crime. The news of Steenkamp's death sent shockwaves through society, sparking heated debates about domestic violence, gun control, and the cult of celebrity. Pistorius's fall from grace was swift and severe, and the story was far from over. There was no denying the facts. A young woman was dead, and her boyfriend, an international sports star, was the prime suspect. The world watched in disbelief as the Blade Runner traded his racing blades for a defendant's stand in a courtroom. A hero had fallen from grace, and a life was tragically lost. The aftermath would be a legal battle that riveted the world. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the world watched in anticipation. Oscar Pistorius, once the beloved Blade Runner, found himself at the center of a media frenzy. His trial was a spectacle that gripped not just South Africa, but the entire globe. The courtroom became a stage where a drama of love, fear, and violence played out. Pistorius maintained his innocence, insisting that he had shot Riva Steenkamp, believing her to be an intruder. The prosecution, however, painted a different picture, one of a calculated murder. After a lengthy and highly publicized trial, the verdict came in. Pistorius was found guilty of culpable homicide in the year 2014. The world gasped, but it wasn't the end of the story. The decision was contested, and in a dramatic twist, it was overturned. The culpable homicide verdict was replaced with a murder conviction. The sentence? Over 13 years in jail. It was a moment that sent shockwaves through the sporting world. The Blade Runner, the double amputee Olympian who had defied all odds, was now a convicted murderer. His illustrious career was now overshadowed by a crime of passion. The courtroom fell silent. The world watched in disbelief. The man who had once run with the wind was now confined behind bars. The hero had fallen, the legend tarnished. Pistorius was no longer a celebrated athlete, but a convicted murderer. In January 2024, after serving nearly 9 years, Pistorius walked free. The world watched as the former Olympian, once hailed as an inspiration, stepped out into the world again, no longer as a celebrated athlete, but a convicted murderer. His life post-prison is undoubtedly far removed from the glitz and glamour of his previous existence. Parole, a conditional release, comes with its own set of rules and regulations, a far cry from the freedom he once enjoyed. The man who once sprinted on the global stage now navigates a much smaller world, hemmed in by the conditions of his release. But this is not a tale of redemption. It's a sobering look at the aftermath of a tragedy, where there are no winners, only survivors. And Pistorius, in many ways, is a survivor too. He survived his trial, his prison term, and now he must survive the world's judgment. Yet it's important to remember that this is not a story about overcoming adversity. This is a story about a man who once soared high, only to fall from grace in the most tragic way. It's about a life forever marked by a single horrific act of violence. So as we ponder the life of Oscar Pistorius, we're reminded of the stark reality of his existence today. Once a global icon, now a convicted murderer, Oscar Pistorius' fall from grace serves as a grim reminder of how quickly fortunes can change. From a beacon of resilience to a symbol of tragedy, the story of Oscar Pistorius is a dramatic one. We've journeyed through his rise to fame as the inspiring Blade Runner, a double amputee sprinter who challenged perceptions. We've delved into the heartbreaking Valentine's Day when Riva Steinkamp lost her life and Pistorius' fall from grace. We've explored the high-profile trial that ended in a murder conviction and the 13-year sentence that followed. Finally, we've peered into Pistorius' life after his release in 2024. The Blade Runner may have fallen, but his story continues to echo in the annals of sports and criminal justice.